And the upper left in the blue, the Protoss player, as we get more and more of them. It's Nina.
Protoss stocks are booming. In the opposite corner, though, of Oceanborn, with the red SCVs, we have Epic. Do we have to get a jar as well for the word epic? I don't think I use that old too much.
I think you're fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, Loco.
Now I'm going to second guess myself.
Oh, no.
I mostly use the word epic in YouTube video titles. That is what's most commonly used.
All right, well, there we go. You know, it makes sense, by the way. Talk about Protoss stocks are booming. AI stocks in general have been booming. And, hey, look. Protoss players, or the Protoss race has more robots in their arsenal of units than Terrans do, certainly than Zergs do. So Protoss stocks booming, AI stocks booming. It just makes sense.
It does make sense, yeah. Are all Protoss units robotic? I'm not entirely sure about the lore of the game, if I'm being brutally honest. No, Zealots are definitely not. I guess the Templar are definitely not. Yeah, I guess all the robotics facility units are, huh? Yeah, I did that all by myself. Are you proud?
I am really proud. And Stalkers are technically mechanical units, though, and they're gateway units, so there is that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think there's a different... Oh, no, they're mechanical units. They're not robotic units. There we go. So
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not quite the same thing. Wait, I thought you were a robotics expert over here.
We've been live for 7 hours, and that's my excuse.
Fair enough. You can definitely write a PhD thesis in StarCraft 2, though, right?
You know, actually, there's a guy who built this massive data set. His name is Kashanis. He shows up, I see him around the community occasionally, who has several published papers about StarCraft AI. And using AI to do StarCraft and machine learning models and things like that. So yes, actually, and actually, there's a guy at my school who's working on making machines work better with people via StarCraft. So the answer is yes, Loco. You absolutely can.
See? I think it's a great plan. If you're still looking for any ideas for your thesis, anything StarCraft related immediately gets me hyped.
There we go. So I'm going to go and I'm going to write something that's not what I'm working on, but I'm going to publish it to r/StarCraft and just get downvoted to hell for being too much of a nerd.
An official paper on /r/StarCraft. Nobody's going to read it. Everybody's just going to read the headline.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe if you put some bold text in there.
It's like back when OpenAI did their thing, and it's like everyone, all in StarCraft was like, well, they have too many screens per minute, so clearly it's not a good approximation, which is fair, by the way. That was true. But even still, like what they were able to accomplish was insanely impressive.
Yeah, the Alpha Star project was actually so much fun. I loved all the funny moments they ran into too, where like at some point they limited the APM, but it turns out what they actually needed to limit was the APM per second, I guess, the actions per second instead, because it would save up actions and then use them all in 1 second instead, like all these funny little quirks. Anyways, first Hellion going across the map together with a Reaper. So far, not achieving all too much. Sentry sleeping on the job, too. Not quite ideal, but I don't think this is going to kill too much.
I do like, by the way, talk about the Sentry sleeping on the job. I do like the addition, more and more we're seeing of these.
Yeah.
It's not a Sentry opener. Oh, by the way, we talked about Nina being known for two things, Blink Stalkers and Disruptor drops, or Colossus drops. Well, we're seeing it in this game. But I do like this addition of this. We're seeing it more and more in openers because it builds a little bit faster out of the gateway and has a little Guardian Shield is a little bit better and all of these things. And what that means is that, well, Protoss has more vision now. They're able to see what's happening. And this singular Widowmine drop, I don't think it's going to get much done, Loco.
No, single Widowmine drops in general, very ambitious, especially when you fly it past an observer like that, right? There should be more than enough. There you go. We have 2 observers. We have double detection. We're going to be more than okay when it comes to defending this here as Nina. And she decided to go super quickly into a Robo Bay, which I think is pretty exciting. We'll have to see exactly what she does. In the past, you used to do a lot of, well, really the only player out there who used to go for example, Colossus drops. Okay, it's not going to be something that crazy, but it is going to be quick disruptors.
I think it's one of those things where Colossus drops are cool. They're flashy, absolutely. But if you talk about, like, damage potential and maybe consistent damage that you do.
We're not talking about good builds.
I'm talking about optimal StarCraft. Excuse me. I am getting my PhD in StarCraft, don't you know, Loco? But realistically, you're going to get more consistent damage done with a couple disruptors. There's more utility in them than, dropping off Colossus and like killing one Marine and one SCV at a time.
It is a Colossus now.
Huh.
Ooh, Widowmine is going to get shut down for free. Yeah, it will indeed get killed, and that makes all of this much easier. Oh, Disruptor completely misrallied. Slipping on the job for just a little bit, though, and Epic actually does get caught off guard. Nina also got caught off guard, though, which is kind of ironic, because she rallied it over there. Liberator, in the meantime, in the main base, trying to get a bunch of damage done.
I mean, was it misrallied, or was it just a great game sense from Nina to know what was happening and respond and put herself out there? So now half the Marines are dead, and this push is not nearly as strong as it once was, and we're gonna see it go off again. It's in tank range, but oh, never mind. It's a 2-tank range. I was gonna say that I don't think it's not gonna be enough shots to kill it off. What it did, even still, a lot of Marines, by the way,
also killed a Stalker, I believe, and that mineral line is now entirely denied.
The problem right now is Nina's not mining out of her main base. She has to respond to this attack at the front, but this has been a long time now where this Liberator has just been zoning out all mining. Now, Loco, that being said, this army is pretty scary, and with this Colossus here, Nina's, oh, that's a great force field too. Nina seems to think that she can just end the game.
Now, what we don't have here is a Prism, right? So I think, yeah, getting these units back home ASAP and trying to deny that Liberator. That Liberator, by the way, should be made out of gold at this point. Like, that one, absolute I can't talk anymore after all these hours, but certainly the VIP right here in this Terran army, because that is a ton of income tonight for a very long while. So despite the fact that Nina had like 20 additional workers, she didn't quite get the value that she was looking for.
At most MVL, Loco, most valuable Liberator.
These long casts, these long days. At some point, words, they just start flowing out, I guess.
I mean, look, here's the thing, Loco. It doesn't matter what other people think, as long as I think I'm funny and you think you're funny, and maybe you laugh at my jokes too. That's really
MVP. That's what I was looking for.
There we go.
Only took me about a minute. Yeah, only took me a little while.
I was gonna say most valuable Protoss, but actually it's the least valuable Protoss. There's most valuable Terran.
Yeah.
All right. So Blink is about halfway done. Extended Thermal Lance on the way. Epic's going for this next round of aggression, but given the tech status, he's gonna have to get a really good siege up, and it doesn't really seem like Nina's letting him have that right now.
Very quick Robo Bay is actually kind of cool here, though, because it allows Nina with a very powerful army at this point in the game, and it's not really something that Epic will have too much practice against, right? So Prism going all the way around the side too. Very unlikely that that one is going to be spotted until it gets into the main base here of the Terran player. In the meantime, this Protoss army, it can keep this Terran force at bay pretty easily.
I mean, there are a couple tanks sieged on the bottom side that make it hard to take a sustained fight there, but that's one of the benefits of the force field, right? You keep half the army away from that. You're able to kill off a decent amount of this army before finding your way into tank range. And now Nina, she's got a bunch of zealots here getting ready to run into the third base. She has to keep this fourth base up, right? This is not the game that we had last time where like losing the fourth base is fine because you're far enough ahead. Epic still has his third. He's not that far. He's delayed. He's not as far ahead as he would like to be, but this game is still very playable for a Terran. And now Nina, this Colossus getting dragged into the fight a little bit. All the shields go down. Well, Epic is starting to find something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. These zealots will probably be cleaned up relatively easily. Nina is going to go for another expansion on the left side now instead, which I do think is a clever play because it's unlikely that Terran is going to be moving all the way in that direction. But the Prism going down, 8 SCVs. Is that really enough to lose this many zealots for now? Looks like Terran, by the way, did cycle all the way to the far left, and I hope for Epic's sake that he's going to pick up on that expansion.
I mean, you say 8 SCVs? Probably not.
Yeah.
15 SCVs. Losing the armory, losing a second, losing the factory, not just the second one, losing the factory. Starport's burning down, starting to get lifted. I'd say that, yeah, we're at 16 SCVs going down. I'd say at this point, and actually keeping a lot of these zealots alive on the recall.
Wow, that's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's worth it.
A much better situation, especially since the base on the left side was never spotted. So Epic could have easily killed it, but I don't think the management right there of the zealots in the main base was quite as good as it could have been. And then, well, not seeing that expansion on the left side makes everything so much harder. Although we are going to see an Archon killed here. Yeah. Considering there were 3 Widow Mines, I think that's about the best value you can hope for.
Yeah, especially with the Colossus right there, because, you know, Colossus Stalker outranges it all, so you should just be able to kill it. Nina didn't see it. It's just a bit unfortunate, even despite the fact now that there is a update to the game that says if you're under Widow Mine attack, you know, you're gonna get the notification that, hey, your units are under attack. So but you know, you're dealing with other things now. At this point, Nina's up 20. Nina's up about 20 supply. Her army is really good. What are we looking at? 3 Colossus versus 4 Vikings. The complexity of Nina's army right now is pretty rough for Epic to deal with.
So Epic doesn't realize that the base isn't at the north.
Yeah.
He's once again moving into that 12 o'clock position, hoping to get a quick kill on an expansion that doesn't exist. Yeah, at this point, the scanner reveals where that base is located. So Nina getting away with it for now, although, yeah, that bio army is just going to turn towards the third instead. Protoss army is far away. You know what? It may just be able to get the kill, although it's going to be a costly one.
I mean, will it be? It's 1 medevac going down, and it's a third of the supply. But, I mean, for a base, you're kind of okay with that.
No, absolutely. Nina immediately rebuilds it. She's also building another nexus on the far left, by the way. Another one of those locations you're not likely to check early here as Epic. Did Epic ever make another command center? No. Completely committed here, but only on 5 barracks. So either a 4th command center or an additional barracks production here at some point would be nice to have. Dark Shrine coming up as well, by the way, here for the pros.
Man, and I feel like I want to see Nina either transition or go. This army that she has is powerful right now. 3 Colossus, a bunch of Archons, Disruptors. This is an army that has ghosts. I mean, the Archons already don't matter. There are 4 ghosts on the field. This is an army that rapidly times out. It's good right now. You can make something happen with it. But eventually the Terran is going to out-tech you. And look at this from, oh my, the army movement from Epic here. Nina was not expecting this whatsoever. So damage on the Nexus. He's not going to stick around to kill it. But you got to be careful. This is certainly something that Nina can collapse on too. But as it stands right now, a Protoss player has to fight around a corner. And Loco, corners are a Terran player's best friend. Your army filters into this big ball of stemmed bio, these tanks here, and it's a hard fight for Nina to take. She's got to move into it right now, but this is not a good position. EMPs, tank shots, everything. Nina's got to find an angle, and Epic right now is not giving it to her.
Yeah, great dance over here. This is exactly the reason why we normally don't see the 4th base for Protoss taken over here, and it wasn't Nina's first choice in this game either. Epic getting as much value as possible, but it looks like Nina may have found an angle to finally get some work done. Those Disruptors are going to force the Terran army to back off. Another big Nova! Oh, nice dodge right there at the last second. But the dodge was in the direction of those Zealots and then also indirectly those Colossi. So Nina is going to be able to push a lot of this back. Moving with the Archons through the ramp, though, up the high ground. Probably not quite ideal. But I think if Nina gets another couple warp-ins here, she's going to feel a lot better about it, especially when +3/+2 finishes. Epic is still not on that big of an economy. There was an extra base mate during all of this, so at least there is some more staying power here for the Terran, but no real SCV production until just now.
Yeah, it's, we talked about that drop earlier, and you were like, oh, is it worth it? And it turns out it absolutely was. One of the things it got was the armory. So Epic, I mean, we're 13 minutes in. His 2-2 is about halfway done. He was so heavily delayed, and imagine if he takes that fight, which was pretty decent to start. Imagine if he takes it with 2-2. It matters. It's so much better. And by the way, despite having all these ghosts, the Archons, 3 of them were still able to stay alive in the fight. And you talked about stimming in and running into the Zealots and into the Colossus range. That's all true. Those 3 Archons, it's easy to forget how much damage Archons do against Terran because they just never make contact. But when they do, I mean, they just pop Marines. They pop Marauders. And he had to stim right into it. So, yeah, tons of damage being done here. He's trying to play the positioning, though. So, maybe trying to get on top of this base, but this time he's not going to be allowed to make that happen. And now it's kind of stim and run, and that's the game that Nina wants to play.
Absolutely. +2/+2 did finish here eventually. Big power spike, of course, for these Terran units. Colossi in a little bit of trouble. Disruptors trying to come from the left side as well. Completely split off the main pack. But at this point, it looks like the Archon Stalker ball over here. And I guess also the Sentries, right? They're a little bit better. They are absolutely shutting down the entire Terran army. There is, however, a planetary fortress here. And I was going to say, fighting on top of that with all of those SCVs repairing seems like an unnecessary risk. Hoping that the Terran army is still chasing for just a moment. But now the supply count is very obviously in favor here of the Protoss. Storm has also been mixed in, by the way, which is not to be underestimated at all. Yeah, I think she does want to go for this base, right?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, look at the Storm from the backside. Oh, it's beautiful. So good. And now, I mean, yeah, there are ghosts here, but Disruptors don't land. Flanks from the backside, I think, got the Disruptor. The Colossus are starting to fall, and technically, this is maybe a good fight, but here comes Storm to the backside, more Disruptors as well. It's the best possible fight, realistically, that Epic could have taken, and he's still may be able to force the Protoss player back. Probably not with reinforcements, but now these High Templar, they're getting sniped down. This was not cost effective, or this was not cost efficient for Nina. But given the economy that she has, it was cost effective. And now the base going down doesn't even matter anymore. There's so much here in the Protoss and so little Terran that even if this army gets shut down, it's done enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of money still in the bank too for Nina, so the supply count is not really telling us the full story. Now 10 additional Zealots get warped in, when we're going to see some additional Archons, for example, getting warped in too to get rid of the gas. I think that will tell us the full story. The Planetary, though, the real MVP in that fight for the Terran, because that really served as an anchor to fall back to. That Colossus at like 1 HP, getting so much damage done as well, is Nina, who wins game number 1, but she really had to fight for that one. That was not an easy match.
No, it wasn't, but kind of a cool one, right? We saw Epic trying to, never really interested in taking a state of fight. Certainly after the first attack, kind of didn't really get a lot of work done because of the, was it misrallied? Was it mental? Was it star sense? I don't know, but that first disruptor.
I think it was definitely misrallied.
I choose, look, Loco, these players, we talked about this earlier, you know, these players, even if you're in GM, are so much better than the rest of us that clearly stars. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
It just kind of seemed like the disruptor itself was surprised too, you know? It like
like,
microed back and forth. They were like, oh, wait a second, I can actually just fire over here. And then it killed about half of those Marines. Yeah.
Ooh, don't mind if I do. But see, Loco, here, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt so chat doesn't get mad at me. That's how that works.
Smart. Pro gamers don't make mistakes, Chad.
No.
Never.
Absolutely.
Pro gamers aren't even human, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they're just robots. We've been over this. Certainly Protoss players are just robots. They're good. The good majority of them. I mean, it's in the Protoss army. But Loco, we're moving on to
a lot of robotics units that previous game too, right? It just makes sense.
Exactly. We're moving on to post youth for game number 2. Did you see the dirty thing that Fuchsia did to Nina to drop her down to 1 and 2?
No, I don't think so.
So what he did, so post youth has that mineral wall, right?
Yeah.
He dropped a mule, maybe even 2 mules.
Oh, that's what you were mentioning earlier. Yeah.
To mine it out, and then Hellions ran into the main base and killed like all of Nina's probes because she wasn't ready for it because she thought that was walled off. And it was super cool. And now, I mean, if I'm Epic, Nina probably has learned from it at this point. It's not going to work again. But if I'm Epic, I got that idea in the back of my head, right? It worked against her once.
Yeah. I mean, we'll find out, I guess. It's very fun that we actually have post-youth so frequently coming up in even a best of 3, right? Now that we're running a 9-map map pool, players could just veto this one easy peasy, but no, it's post-youth in like maybe a third or so of our series today. I mean, we're all very, you know, Oceanborn is very common. It's like Delta we see all the time. Those are not really a surprise, but yeah, to see post-youth and also Ghost River and whatnot come up so frequently it's really fun. Yeah. I guess the only map we haven't seen today is Dynasty, I want to say. Maybe there's one more.
We've seen Crimson Court. We've seen Ghost River.
Yes.
Crimson Court, Alcyone we saw once.
Yeah.
Post Youth, Ghost River, Side Delta, Oceanborn.
Oceanborn, yeah.
Am I missing 3?
We can go ahead and look this up in a moment, but I'm pretty sure we've seen most of the maps. Let's just say we've seen all of the maps except Dynasty. That makes me sound smart, BO.
There we go. It doesn't matter. See, here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether we're right or not. We're saying it on TV or on the internet, and therefore it's true because no one has ever lied on the internet. Much like
That's true.
Much like I would never lie about getting into game 2. Bottom left in the blue, she's up 1, playing a really nice macro defensive game off of what was an attempted disruptor drop that kind of it never quite got off the ground. Anyways, it's Nina.
And her opponent, all the way in the top right-hand corner of this strange map. He is Epic. Amphion. Amphion is the map we didn't call.
Ah, yeah. Well,
we also haven't seen a game on that one today.
Okay, so I counted 6. Amphion in Dynasty or 2. Is there one I didn't mention? Or what did I do?
Golden Aura, I don't think you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, we had Golden Aura. There we go.
Yeah, we've had a lot of games on Golden Aura.
We have. A lot of weird games on Golden Aura, too. Not trying to play against this idea that it's a very defensive map, so we're going to get super aggressive. Yeah.
It's actually so fun, though, that we do have such a map variety. I think one of the best changes in recent StarCraft changes, I guess, is just having more maps in the map pool. Because especially for best of 3 series, when a patch is around for a long while and we've had the same map pool for, like, say, a half year or so, we tend to see every best of 3 series, at least historically, come down to the same maps over and over and over again, with maybe one outlier from time to time. But So far, at least in this entire tournament, there's been a lot of variety. Like maybe some of the maps we haven't seen today. I mean, maybe we're not going to see them at all. Obviously, we have still some games to come, but we have seen them in best of 3 series during this tournament already. And we've seen a variety of games on every single one of them. So despite the fact that all of the maps, the new ones especially, are all a little bit funky, they still get picked a lot, which is cool.
Yeah, you know, and I'm kind of the opinion that I think we should force it a little bit more as well. So right now it's, I want to say for best of 3, it's 6 bans, then 3 picks. But I think we should be taking like the best of 5 approach, where you get you ban like 2, or maybe you ban 4, and then you have some picks, and then you ban 2 and pick the rest.
Yeah,
it's like
there's an argument to be made for that. Yeah,
you know, at some point, yes, there are maps that are going to be imba, but like in a best of 3, if each player bans 2, you're gonna get the really bad maps for the matchup out of the way. And then, hey, there's even more variability, which I don't know. I was beating the drum of a 9-map pool for quite a long time, so I was so excited when they added it. And I want to see more. I want to see more Amphion, even if some players don't like it.
So if 9 maps, if pretty much everybody agrees that 9 maps is better than 7, is 11 better than 9, or is that too much?
So my idea, right, when we talk about a 9-map pool, it gives you some nice abilities to say, okay, we're gonna have 3 short maps, 3 medium-sized maps, 3 long maps or big maps, and one of each of those maps can be weird, like a golden wall or something, or a Beckett. And then, well, in a best of 7, you know, you're gonna have one of those weird maps, but the rest of it's gonna be pretty standard, and it gives you this opportunity to have a pretty formulaic map pool that still has a lot of weirdness into it, and still, again, kind of make sure it's pretty fair for all playstyles. You go to 11, you don't have that nice, easy breakdown, is my thought, at least.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just an idea, right? I think 9 is actually very good. Yeah, it's funny how like just such a small change, something that's relatively easy to incorporate as well in tournaments and all that, actually has such a massive impact, because we do get a lot more game variety. Suppose Youth, definitely one of the strangest maps we've seen, and well, it's once again bringing out some strange builds here too, as Nina is going straight into a very quick Robo Bay together with a 3rd Nexus. Now, that 3rd Nexus, again, we keep saying this, but it's very far away from the ramp. It feels like you have to cover so much terrain here.
I'm getting deja vu all over again, Loco, here, because this is still that single Widowmine drop pressure from Epic. I think we're going to see a move across the map with Marine Tank after that.
The Observer again, too.
It's a different map, but it's the same story. Once again, Drop's going to show up into the natural, Stalkers warp in, probes are going to get pulled, Widowmine's going to get a shot off on a singular probe, probably. That's that. He's not going to get the medevac. She's not going to get the medevac this time. Epic's not going to lose that. And Helion's diving in the natural. We're seeing the power of the new Century here, knocking down all the shields from the Terran. And, hey.
Those Terran shields had no way to survive that.
Absolutely.
Immediately
they got
down to 0.
Annihilated.
Not taking any bonus damage from the Hellion either, really coming into play there.
Yeah, actually, that is a good point. I gotta say though, I feel like this was gonna be some sort of robo drop again, just given Nina's reputation, but it's just a Colossus expand, which is, you know, something we used to see all the time back in the day, but not recently.
Yeah, but it's a very early 3rd Nexus now on the back of it, right? So this certainly is a little bit risky, but Epic not really set up to do anything about it all. Epic just hoping to maybe get some more damage done with a Widowmine drop in just a moment. Now we're going to send a Raven across too, because, well, evidently there's not really any flying units here for the Protoss. So if there's not a Phoenix opener, you may as well send a Raven in too if you have it against the Colossi. Obviously, you really want to keep it alive, but it's not like Nina is really going to be attacking you anytime soon, right? Other than, well, maybe a Colossus drop. I keep believing the Colossus drop, but don't think it's going to happen.
Although you say, you know, against the Colossus, you like to keep the Ravens alive. That's only if you're getting Interference Matrix. And there is no Tech Lab on this starport. There's no Interference Matrix on the way. The Raven is just for a little bit of harass, but now here we go. Stim, Combat Shields +1. Done pretty much by the time that Epic shows up on the other side of the map. Now, Host Youth is really long. From that perspective, one might argue it's a pretty good Protoss map. I don't know that I have really strong opinions on it being a really good Protoss map, really good Terran map, vice versa at the moment. Because there's a lot of dead airspace, so you can make a lot of drops happen, and these Colossus are just going to sit here, kill off a bunch of Marines before this attack gets started. 6 seconds before Stim is done, but now, hey, Extended Thermal Lance is complete. Stim done around the same time, but Nina, one of the powers of opening this quick robo like this is you have this high ground ramp to fight with. That's why this build is so solid, and the tanks are not getting the shots they need just on Zealot, sure, but not on these Colossus.
Yeah, that ranged upgrade is so incredibly early that it's just not possible for Terran to get much done. Epic on sieges and immediately drives those siege tanks back home. That now suddenly means, though, that you have to accept the fact that you're economically pretty far behind here as Terran, because you know Protoss has been sitting on that 3-base eco for a while. You know they gotta be pretty much fully saturated. Nina's probably already thinking about making a 4th Nexus here momentarily, too. Oh, dude, the observer control from her has been amazing.
Yeah, Nina, this has long been a hallmark of Nina's plays, that she is very active with making sure she's got vision everywhere, whether that is pylons, because of course the pylon range buff is by far the most important thing that Protoss players have ever received. But pylons or zealots or maybe a random probe or, you know, she's one of the players that will occasionally hallucinate 4 probes to really get some good map vision. And it makes it really hard to do what Epic wants to do right now, which is counterattack and play away from where the army is. Although this time, Epic's got the inside track. Nina has to respond back to this. She doesn't have a ramp to play with this time. Doom drop into the main base, but Nina's already on her way. Now, granted, the minerals are gone, but she is right where she needs to be here. Tanks are going to try to siege up, but Zealot's already here. And pick up, go away. That's a dead tank, dead Widow Mine. Epic gets nothing doing with this.
Yeah, there is a moment where you want to mine out those skinny mineral fields on the ramp. Exactly. I think it was before this point, but luckily for Nina, she does not have that, well, really ruin her game, as we do have another commitment here. Interesting, because the Stalkers are not actually part of this fight. They're going to be joining in from the high ground instead, getting rid of one of those siege tanks. 5 probes, by the way, do end up going down. I would imagine it's that Raven. Yeah, now 9 confirmed kills, which not bad at all.
Yeah, I think you talk about taking the fight without the Stalkers, I think the Zealots by themselves are just, with the Colossus as well, are certainly enough to take that fight. But what Nina's trying to do now, she's trying to not close the map out. She can't do that yet. But she is trying to kind of expand her sphere of influence. That allows her to get her 4th base, keep the Terran player back a little bit. So 4th base is on the way. She's going to have a lot more map control in about 5 seconds when Blink is done. And at that point, maybe we start to see maybe a little bit more mobility, disruptors getting added in now. But given how big the map is, Loco, it does feel like it's almost a 6-base game, right? When you really start to see Nina really start to lean into this, 5 or 6 bases. Because up until that point, the map is so big that it's really hard to deal with the Terran counterattack, especially with kind of how walled off the pushing lanes are.
No, absolutely. Obviously, there's some golden minerals here as well nearby. By the way, during all of this, maybe the fights haven't gone that great for Epic, but his army has been growing very nicely because the economy has been building very nicely too. The only thing I don't love here is the 2-2, right? We only have the +2 infantry attacks coming up right now, but this Raven is putting in so much work, getting kill after kill after kill. Now there's also Ghost in the mix. Oh, nice dodge right there at the last possible second. I don't think there's quite enough Terran army to just straight up fight this, is there?
No, I mean, the Stalkers blink forward and they don't do damage to the Vikings at first, so there is that. But I mean, the Colossus, the first shots that they got were disgusting. And one Colossus is still here. Yeah, this is not a good fight for an Epic. He survives. The supply is still in a pretty good spot, but he is totally rebuffed. And yes, shutting down some of the Colossus are nice. Widow Mine's not going to get the friendly fire that they want. But at the end of the day, I mean, Nina on the rejoinder here. Medevacs are falling. Ghosts are falling. All the Vikings are dead. I don't think I want to see Nina attack up the ramp here again. She's only on a single Colossus at the moment. But much like her tech was reset, a whole lot of Epic's tech was reset, and really by the same way.
Absolutely. Raven, by the way, still hanging out on the left side of the map. Now 12 confirmed kills. Kind of crazy. We're going to drop another cheeky little auto turret. You know what? I was thinking earlier, anti-armor missile. We've seen some value out of that, but I agree. Just keep it around over here. Occasionally come in, drop. Hey, there we go. Drop a couple auto turrets. Finally, a photon cannon is going to try and slow down the harassment here. Nina is also moving on over towards this left side of the map once again to get some more vision with those observers.
Yeah, you know, this Raven at this point is just the SEAL Team 6 copy pasta. Like, don't you know who I am?
Yeah.
I can't. It would be funnier if I could bring the copy pasta to mind, but I am unfortunately dumb, Loco. So I'll make the reference to it.
The full thing?
At least the beginning, right?
No.
I'll make reference to it.
It's a long one.
Yeah, and then Twitch chat is going to give it to me in 2 minutes.
Observer, or sorry, Widow Mine right there, getting a pretty decent hit. No observer with this this Stalker ball. +3/+2, once again coming up here for the Protoss, nice and early. Epic also getting the +2 infantry weapons done at this point.
can't believe how much. Jeez, this Raven is getting so. Shield Battery's doing a lot, but I can't believe how much is getting done. Now, Loco, I got a question for you because we're moving up to 4 Colossus. Epic's got about 5 Vikings. He's been a player that's shown this ability to go, this desire to go and build Vikings. I mean, we're holding that thought because Epic's going to try to attack. Those EMPs blanket everything. The Archons are popping like balloons. But this 4th Colossus, well, I guess 3rd Colossus now. I think one just died. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I think there is definitely pushing potential, but it's so dangerous, right? When you get your entire army, well, flanked by EMP, like what we just saw, you just lose so much of your pushing potential here as Protoss. At the same time, Nina's economy is also not quite as good as it once used to be in this game, though, as the Raven does get an additional kill here. The 69 workers here for both players, I guess that's a decent eco, right? But I think that favors the Terran overall, especially since Protoss has only just now got a 5th Nexus finishing up all the way at the bottom of the map. It's one of those locations that can be quite difficult, I guess, for Epic to reach. But yeah, I'm liking this position more right here for the Terran than I did in the previous game.
Yeah, it really does feel like it's all about the disruptor shots right now. We're not really seeing Nina cast them for the moment. Maybe they're in cooldown, I don't know. But even still, Bio tries to get on top of them. The Colossus through Overcharge are fighting as long as they can. But this disruptor has just not sent its shot for the last 30 seconds that fight. Imagine you send it off. The Terran has to micro around a little bit more. It's a little bit more awkward of a fight. Instead, Epic just shoved right on through. And yeah, there are disruptors here now. There's another Colossus getting added in. But Nina not able to get the fight she wanted. Her harassment, such as it was, I don't think got anything done. And all of a sudden, Nina is in a really rough spot in this game. Down 50 supply, down half the army's supply. Disruptor shots just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it wasn't hockey, not landing. And at this point, she's got to land some massive shots to bring this game back. I mean, look at the reinforcements. They're just finding their way. This army is all that Nina has. And actually, she doesn't even have that anymore. Epic ties us up.
And even the MVP of the game also joined in right there at the very end. He had like 1 HP, but the Raven was there to witness the victory. Yeah, very nicely done right there by Epic. It's one of those moments where like it's almost like a soft container, right, for the Protoss economy, where Nina was playing defensively the entire time long, and ultimately the Terran's eco just caught up, right? She had a great eco at the beginning of the game, but then it slowly just fizzled out over time. As we actually are going to be seeing a little bit of Amphion.
Hey, they were listening.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, they weren't, because that'd be against the rules. But proverbially, we were able to go and like mentally influence and say, Amphion.
Yeah.
Amphion. We want Amphion.
What was the one other map we haven't seen yet? Dynasty.
Dynasty.
We gotta get Dynasty as well.
All right, so we have one more. We can't get any more maps in this series. This is game 3. So one of Maples and Eggs. One of Maples and Eggs. Pick Dynasty. Give us the full suite. We know you. I mean, it's not like you're running into elimination and playing in a competitive tournament with your life on the line. And you should make decisions based on how you think you're best going to win a series, not what Loco and I want.
Anything for the fans.
Anything for the fans.
No, I'm with you. Obviously, always pick the maps you like to see, but it's interesting to see a little bit of Amphion too. Amphion is the map, of course, where that entire left side of the map is very difficult to acquire because you either have to mine out the mineral fields or you have to knock down the rocks. And we've seen some crazy pushes and timings on this particular map too. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be bringing. Apparently, Epic requesting a quick little break. So we will be jumping into the finale of this series in just a moment. Do you think that was like one part of that game that went wrong for Nina? Like there wasn't really one outstanding moment other than maybe that fight, right? Where the disruptors were just not really participating much.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Because Nina, I think, was in a pretty good spot after the initial attack. Didn't really get a lot done. I think more than anything, though, I mean, the Raven getting like 12 or 15 kills or whatever it was really good. But I think in general, Nina not going above 70 workers. I mean, sure, her 4th base was well-timed, her 5th base was well-timed, but if you're going to play like that, 69 workers, you need to max out and take one big fight. And I don't think you can do that on post-youth. It's just so long.
Yeah, maybe that was the plan when she had 4 Colossi, but then we kept losing out like 1 Colossus at a time, so the 4th Colossus never really came.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I think also, you take a look at that one fight that Nina took where she actually did force Epic back quite a bit. She blinks her stalkers forward off to try to get an angle on the Vikings, but instead they're killing Bio. So instead of having maybe 2 or 3 Colossus remaining out of the fight, she has 1. And that's not pushable. So even as she's sitting here and taking a fairly decent fight, this timing that she should have had didn't have enough Colossus with it to allow her to flood across the map and really take that advantage.
Alrighty, so I heard the wonderful beeps in the background. That means that the game is loading up. We get 10 beeps at the beginning of every game. Amphion is going to be one of the maps we haven't seen yet today in all of these best of threes that we've been casting. We've got one more after this particular series wraps up. But I think it's time to introduce our players.
That it is. So in the upper left, in the blue, taking game one, falling down in the second, it's Nina.
Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, he goes by the name of Epic. Living up to his name so far.
And Loco, talk about games on this map. I don't know if you saw Battlebee Clem. This was like the first weekend where Battlebee actually took this map. He played an...
Yeah.
Okay, pardon my language here, but he took an epic game.
Hey.
Really, really cool. Playing through the middle. Nice hold against Clem's attempted mech. So, yeah, I think Amphion is underutilized. A lot of players don't like it because it's this weird pushing through the middle and the mineral walls, and yeah, it's kind of hard to get a handle on. It's a very weird map, but I'm not gonna say that it's gonna turn into like this map pool's golden wall, because I don't think anything can. But I think it's a lot better map than people, as a kind of competitive map, as an interesting map. I think it's a lot better than players are really giving it credit for at the moment.
Yeah, usually it takes some time as well, right, for maps to really be figured out. That takes, sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes, a half year. But this definitely has that potential. I see what you mean, where right now it's just a bit weird. We already have 17 different balls to juggle, right? So this is just one of those things you just don't really want to mix in all too much. But this map certainly has a lot of potential, because basically the left side of the map, so the bases on the 9 o'clock position, right, those 3 expansions over there, they're pretty difficult to acquire because you have to go either through the mineral fields or through the rocks, or I guess you can drop units over there too, right? But it's not an accessible section of the map at the moment. But if you ignore that entire part of the map and you just focus on the right side, and we see a lot of games do that, then it's really not that much different as your conventional maps. At the same time, if you do decide to go for those bases quickly, there's a lot of potential there too. I feel like we haven't seen, for example, this base, the one at the 3 o'clock position, rarely seen. I've seen quite a few games on this map so far, but not a very popular map, or not a very popular base on this map just yet, but it's got a lot of potential, right? There's a bunch of golden minerals there. Doesn't really boost your income that much, but Nina mixing it up, by the way, going for a Stargate this time around.
Ooh, very nice. I think this might be, no, this is the second Stargate opener in PVT we've seen this entire day. I think there was one in the Chinese region as well. But yeah, when I think about this map, I kind of think about it like a Blackburn rotated, right? So it's vertical spawns instead of horizontal spawns, but you kind of have this islandish area with bases in the middle that you can try to take early, but it's weird, and the rest of the map kind of expands a little. You kind of expand away from your opponent, so yeah, it feels almost like a Blackburn, not quite, obviously. And I think the other thing that's really interesting about this is, man, it's just how big the natural is. Generally, the main base is the area that has a lot of space, but the natural is kind of small. But because of this mineral wall and everything, there is so much space to try to spread out, to develop tech, to also to try to push through. But it also means that Blink Stalkers are just not good on this map. Not really. You can't blink into the main base. And I think in part that's why we're seeing Nina go Stargate here. Yeah, there's a kind of almost dead airspace that the Terran can respond with, but also, I mean, how are you supposed to blink in the main base here?
No, it's very tricky. That is exactly the reason why we do have that Phoenix start here instead. Still a very powerful build, of course. Still something that Nina is going to have a ton of experience with. But it does play out a little bit differently. I would imagine this is going to be Phoenixes into Colossi. Because, she's a big fan of that robo playstyle in general. But obviously, the Blink Stalker follow-up as well. I believe that's what we saw earlier today. Still a viable choice. Always dangerous, though, to go across the map with a medevac drop when you're going up against a bunch of those Phoenixes.
Yeah, well, for now, this drop in the main base is going to cause some problems. Phoenix, they're really good defending against a lot of stuff as the Adept's going to go down to the... That's a really good Widowmine position, by the way. Just makes it so hard to make this happen. Phoenix are great against a lot of stuff, a lot of early aggression. Against drops like this, against Hellion... Well, actually, no, they're really good against Hellion drops, but against drops like this with a ton of anti-air, they just don't kill it all that quickly. So 8 probes go down as we're looking at game 3. And Epic, I mean, he's built himself a pretty significant advantage as we try to figure out how to play Amphion.
Absolutely. Those mules obviously make more than up for that worker difference right now. Or lack thereof, I guess, at this point in the game. Ooh, nice land as well. At this point in the game, you do expect Protoss to be quite a bit more ahead in that department. Epic, by the way, immediately fired up additional barracks on the back of this too. So we're going to be adding on up to 3. Nothing all too crazy. We'll probably see the +1 infantry weapons here in just a moment, together with Stimpack and combat shields. And again, we've seen the Stimpack and the combat shields get the Knight in this tournament so far, but on a map like this, very difficult to pull that off. But Nina is reading this correctly. This is not really a Terran army that's going to be marching across the map anytime soon.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, right? We talked about this. On the one hand, Nina took a ton of damage. 8 probes going down that early it hurts. It hurts quite a bit. She's going to try to find some back of it here with the Phoenix, but they don't kill things quite as quickly. The other thing, though, is that so Nina's on 2 bases, and that is a very defensive setup. It's going to be very hard for the Terran to push through. She got her 3rd base on the way now, but Phoenix Colossus stays on 2 bases for a lot longer. So yeah, like on the one hand, technically that should have been more defensible, but now that she's taken that damage, she has less next side to rebuild the probe count. So it is a little awkward. I mean, on the flip side though, Phoenix Colossus, how do you attack?
Both players, by the way, supply blocked at 70 out of 70. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, you're good. Good to point out. I mean, it is important, but like, even though
it looked pretty,
it's not good. Even though Nina's taking all this damage, right? When we look at how many ramps there are playing Phoenix Colossus as she is, like, how does the Terran really attack it? How does he take advantage of it?
It's difficult. You need to get that Stimpack and the combat shields done here before Terran can really move, but Epic is gonna, well, get across the map early, so he can hopefully hit the Protoss army in the face right when all of those upgrades finish up. That is going to be a massive moment for the Terran army, one that we see very frequently. With this particular opener, unlike the one that we saw, or the ones rather, that we saw in the previous games, there is not going to be extended thermal lens. So, well, still some good angles here for force fields, of course, so you got to be careful, but extended thermal lens is a very nice upgrade to try and be safe against this. Keep in mind, of course, that the Phoenixes can also take the siege tanks and the Widow Mines out of the equation. So, still a tricky fight here for Epic for sure.
Yeah.
He's going to commit to this. Do I like this? Not so much.
I feel like you want to wait until 2, but Nina catches the army a little bit around the corner. The tanks are going to get set up, and yeah, I don't think the Widow Mines were with that fight either. If they were, they died very quickly. So it's a good first fight. The tanks are all dead. This Colossus takes no damage whatsoever. And now Nina's got 2 Colossus. The Phoenix, I think one of them died, but that was about it. Nina does a really nice job of cleaning this up. And now, hey, if you're a Nina fan, this is game number 3. She's looking, despite the damage she took earlier, she's looking pretty solid in this. As we, again, Amphion's a weird map, but for right now, it seems like she's got the better read on it.
Absolutely. Now extended thermal lens is finishing, though, and that is going to make everything easier here for Nina. She only has 3 Phoenixes left over, so there's always that moment, right, where suddenly you can counterattack with the Phoenixes and lift up a ton of SCVs and get a bunch of damage done on the other side of the map to really rub salt in the wound. With 3 Phoenixes, not really that great of an option, but Camille still maybe pick up a couple of reinforcing units, right? Like, for example, be a nuisance here with the additional barracks coming up. Ghost Academy, by the way, is going to finish up here momentarily. That is pretty early, considering the 3rd CC isn't even landed yet.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of looking at this. Nina, she doesn't have, I think maybe a Twilight just finished, but she really doesn't have any anti-drop plays. She got the three Phoenix, but that's not a ton. And the fact that she decided not to build anymore is a little surprising, as now we see Widow Mine goes off one. I mean, this Colossus is doing such a good job of staying alive. I thought this was going to be a disaster for Nina. At the end of the day, she does still lose 1 Colossus, but she actually handles this really nicely. It's really only the Colossus that goes down. Phoenix are going to chase one of these medevacs down. Unfortunately, she's not able to find the medevac that has stuff in it, but it's 2 dead medevacs. The Marines, there's not a lot of anti-air. Nina cleans this up, and, you know, for the low cost of 1 Colossus, I think you take that. That was a lot
I'm surprised
better.
Epic didn't lose the one that did have units in it, you know? You have 4 of them, you killed 3, and somehow the one that didn't have... Or sorry, you only killed the ones that didn't have the Marauders. I mean, it's not the end of the world, of course. Big difference, too, though, compared to game number 2 of this particular series, is that Nina is actually continuously building up her eco. So we'll probably see her surge past that 70 worker count here in just a moment. 4th Nexus is already finishing up. It's actually already done at this point in time, which is really nice and early. There's a lot of distance between the 3rd base of Epic and the 4th base of Nina, so any medevacs heading on over in that direction, unlikely for them to really go in that spot. And then the Phoenixes are controlling the airspace in between the main base as well as the 3rd of Epic, so I'm liking this game right here for Nina. I think she should be able to pick up most drops pretty easily, and I think economically she's in a really nice position.
Yeah, and Loco, you know, I guess the one thing I'm looking at here is I almost feel like I would have liked to see Nina take the mineral wall third or fourth base right on the left side.
Yeah.
Because at that you have the ramp, right? That's where the Terran's going to want to attack. I guess it is. You always want to shy away from taking a triangular base pattern against a Terran because of how that can kind of bounce around with drops, and that can be kind of painful and really hard to deal with. But kind of given the setup on this map, it feels, and I guess that is pretty close to the Terran too, but I'm just looking at this fourth base, right? And how far away it is from the rest of Nina's bases. And that when we get in a late game and Terran starts multi-pronging a little bit, it feels like this is going to be really hard for Nina to hold on to all four bases at the same time.
Epic scanning, by the way, the far top right hand corner too. He just found out about the fourth base. He's like, wait a second, don't tell me there's another base behind it already, right? Because that would be a... Yeah, that's also a very far away one, but if we're gonna take those tucked away expansions, you may as well just go for the one that's a little bit, well, safer maybe, but Nina opting for the high ground one. Still though, that's a fully saturated base before Epic gets the fourth CC even remotely done, and this is now a little bit tricky. Exactly what do you do here as Epic? You need to have another one of those engagements like what we saw in the previous match, but already Protoss is at a much better economy.
It is. The Protoss player is. She is. But, like, okay, so 76 workers just about maxed out, 188 supplies. Generally where we see Protoss players kind of stop anyways so they can warp in things on harassment, defensive, whatever it is. What are you looking at, right? Is it the 2-2 timing that you're looking for? I mean, EMPs just shatter this army right now. It's really hard to fight into. Like, at what point, because I think this map does get pretty hard for the Protoss as the game goes later and later, just how spread out your bases have to be. So, is 2-2 what you're looking for? Is it blink? Is it more disruptors? Like, what is the go timing here?
Previously, we did see those 4 Colossi, right? They did really help out quite a bit. I'm really liking this transition from Epic into Mass Liberator already. That's sort of what we saw missing earlier in that Dolan versus Disc series, right? Where Dolan was sitting around on that, well, lower tier army for a very long time, but apparently at this point Epic is happy with the amount of Vikings that are out. We're up to 11, so 4 Colossi, not really a great option to go into at this point here for Nina. And soon the Liberators are going to be hitting the battlefield, and Liberators are incredibly powerful against this particular Protoss army. You can deal with it, I guess, with Blink Stalkers, but Blink isn't even done yet.
And you know, before extended Lib ranges on the map, Colossus are actually pretty good against Liberators. They outrange them. You can still take the fight even with the Liberators there. You can kind of okay. That's again the benefit of having 11, 12 Vikings. It does zone quite a bit. I've almost said the position right now is that's a big shot. That was juicy. But I'm almost
not even really that many things going on all at the same time, right? So sometimes you just don't expect it. Another couple Marines here do bite the dust as we do have an aggressive stim forward right now by Epic. He feels like he needs to get something done right here, right now, but I think so far that's backfiring heavily. Barely killing anything right there from the Protoss, but losing tons of Terran supply in the process.
Yeah, and the key part about this, the Phoenix move in from the left side, and all the Vikings like, we're gonna fight the Phoenix. No, you need to kill the Liberators, Vikings. That's what you're there for. Disruptor shots not going to land as well this time, but the Stalkers are just sitting under these Liberators, targeting them down. The Disruptor shots are massive as well. And, well, actually, you know, on the counterattack, but even still, it's mostly Vikings that are remaining. Supply doesn't really matter as part of this fight. Stalkers continue to blink forward here. And Nina, despite the supply falling down to just about equal, that is a massive fight for Nina. She really forced the Terran player back, and now we're looking at 2-2 Stalkers, mass Disruptors. And by the way, this base is not going to land here. Nina may not be able to kill it. I'm not really sure. Disruptors are not, they're going to land pretty good shots here, but it looks like Epic for the most part is going to keep her off of it. But going up that high ground, that's a different story.
She has too much money in the bank right now. She really needs to get another warping going, because having this many resources in the bank, like, she should be maxed out at this point in the game, and that makes all of these fights a little bit dangerous, right? Like, we're dancing on the other side of the map with thousands of resources in the bank. That can certainly be an issue. Now the Zealots, though, do show up, and another nice Nova as well. Okay, well, +3/+3 is going to finish up as well, by the way, within about a minute here for Protoss, but Nina does not want to wait for anything along those lines. You gotta be careful around the Planetary Fortress with mass repair. It can put in a lot of work. Instead, we're thinking about going up towards the high ground.
You know, Loco, in Spanish, Nova means no-go. And these Novas are giving some no-go zones for Epic at this point. The shots are massive. Again, Nina does have to be careful around the planetary. You're absolutely correct. But it's 172 supply to 117 or 114. Yeah, you know, Nina would love to have a warp prism. That'd be solid. But at this point, she's doing such a good job of constraining the Terran. I mean, as I say that, she's taking some pretty rough fights. These
We're taking our Colossus for a walk. So this is called a Terran base.
Huh. Luckily, there's no army there, so they're gonna get recalled back home. How does that
moment when you let your Colossi off the leash, man? It's careful.
How does that
gotta be very careful.
Miss Rally?
I think it must have been an observer or a prism or something that was rallied in that direction earlier. But
I'm just looking at the path that a Colossus would have to take to go there.
Well, they had quite a distance to travel. Either way, Nina not gonna let go of the pressure all too much. 5th Command Center, by the way, is sneaking away during all of this, but she is gonna be able to catch it here, it looks like. And no planetary fortress for now. I think you mine out these mineral fields over here, right? And get the reinforcement path to be nice and quick. Oh, she already did. Oh, nice.
The base is dead too. Looks like there's a Liberator up on the north side, but I mean, that's a Liberator that Epic needs at this point. He is just eating so many shots. Sometimes as a Terran, or as a player in general, it feels like once you start eating shots, you're almost...
Yeah.
It's a mindset thing. You just feel like you can't dodge them at that point. And Epic, that's what happened. Nina, really nice disruptor shots. And you asked if I was surprised that she's not already in playoffs. Well, she books a ticket to have a shot.